You want to go ahead and get started, Jim?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody to the session. Thank you all for putting your names in the chat and where you're from, so we have a sense of who's there since we can't see anybody. So this is the session on developing high school CS programs in diverse school settings. And we're going to run the session more as a panel format. We have educators from 3 high schools who are going to be the panelists, and then Jim Matthews and myself from Siena College are going to facilitate. And I want to share this picture with you because our colleague Norval got us into Bitmojis, and he and his crew at Middletown created this great, cool graphic for us, and it makes us smile. So we wanted to include it in this talk. You can try to figure out who is who as we're going through. Okay, so overview of the session. We're going to do this as a panel, as I mentioned. The high schools are from upstate New York schools, and they're all part of Siena College's CS for All program. This program is working with over 40 school districts, and we are supporting them in helping in-service teachers learn computer science content and pedagogy through professional development so that they can offer new computer science classes at their schools. And we also have opportunities for teachers to take computer science courses for credit at Siena, which can count towards the 12 credits you need for certification in New York. If you want to learn more details about our program, we encourage you and welcome you to come to our talk tomorrow on Friday at 1:40. And we'll be going through some of the things we can offer and talking about some other schools we have partnered with. But for today's talk, you all are going to get to meet 3 fantastic schools that we work with. They're going to introduce themselves and their context and talk about the evolution of their CS program. And our goal is to have about 15 to 20 minutes at the end to take your questions and have conversations and maybe hear some of your challenges and successes as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues at Chatham.
I guess I'll introduce myself before I let Lisa talk. I'm Elizabeth Pegarella. I am a computer science and math teacher. This is my 3rd year of teaching and 3rd year at Chatham.
And my name is Lisa Rude, and I'm the Director of Academics at Chatham.
Go to the next slide.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about our demographics, and then I'm going to pass you over to the magic in our department. We are a small rural school district in Columbia County, and we have just under 900 students. We're not very diverse, but we are seeing quite an influx of English language learners. We're about 88% white, 7% Hispanic, with the rest multiracial, Black and Asian. We have a strong tax base, but 43% of our students are economically disadvantaged. So Elizabeth's in a really unique situation. She was the course. Elizabeth, what was the name of the course before? Before discovering computer science?
It was called Computer Programming 1.
So computer science was within that space. There was a male teacher. And so Elizabeth's been teaching it now for several years. But I wanted to give you a little snapshot in terms of over the past 5 years, what we've seen, that we've had 74 kiddos go through the program, mostly male, 12% female. And you can see the breakdown of demographics. Well, I'll save what our hope is until after we talk about where we're at. So Elizabeth, take it away.
So I'm on the next slide there. So this year currently, though we are a small district, we have what I think is a good collection, wide range of offerings. We teach, I teach a Discovering Computer Science course. That's an intro level course. Geared for students 9 through 12. It's awesome. It's all walks of life. This year I have 11 awesome students taking that. And I put a sub bullet on here because, as Lisa mentioned, our diverse population is definitely growing. And I'm really fortunate to have one of those students in my class this year. He speaks Chinese, which is a learning curve for me as well. But he has some cool technology that I'm learning how to use as well. I also teach a section of a Python multimedia course. I have you don't know how excited I am to have 9 students in that course this year. And I also teach a section of web design, which is a half-year elective. But currently, like I said, in our small district, there aren't enough students enrolled to even fill my full schedule. As of today, I only have 4.5 sections filled. So if anyone needs me for the second half of the year, first period, let me know. But that's the idea, in that I'm hoping that we can grow that program through time. And if you go on to the next slide, I'm hoping that that program can grow here. We have a really good, I think, strong guidance department and administration that is good at talking, open communications there. But I'm hoping that together with them, we can create some of these more collaborative spaces that students want to come in and join my classes. You know, I'm very fortunate this year that I picked up a handful of students, even in the first week of school, that said, hey, come take computer science. And they were all really excited to be here. So I'm hoping we can work on that new technology, develop, you know, stronger, faster Wi-Fi. We have these awesome Chromebooks, and you can see here in my computer lab, while these are good desktops, they're not state of the art, but that's okay. We're working on that. I'm hoping to have some more interactive spaces with whiteboards in the walls and all kinds of different levels there. And my goal obviously is to increase enrollment and develop those better connections starting at kindergarten all the way up to when they get to me in high school. I think having that connection, even starting at middle school for now, I think that's going to be our goal for the next couple of years, to start at middle school and phase it up to when they get to me in the high school. And for me, my personal goal is to encourage more young women to take computer science. Like Lisa said, we don't have a wide range of diverse students, but I want to target a lot of young women to take the course. And not to brag, but I am a young woman myself. So I'm hoping that kind of gears them into coming to my classroom. And, you know, at the end of the day, our aim is just everyone to have a foot in the door and know a little bit about programming and problem solving skills before they venture out into the real world.
One last thing before we move on is that I hope that what you can see is that Elizabeth is trying to take something new and innovative, but she is in a classroom space that has stepped back in time. So it's a pretty rough space, but the point of that is
the VCR player up there in the corner in the top right.
Is that from very humble beginnings you can start this work, and as Elizabeth said too, is that our goal is to offer a half credit in middle school, and then to offer the second half credit in high school, alternating health, so that everybody will have it. But we really want to expand and have it K-12. So our aim is that all of our kiddos get computer science.
Turn it over to you, Dylan.
All right. You guys can hear me all right? Okay. I'm a technology teacher and obviously CS. So I'm from Goshen, Orange County, kind of like, I don't know, right between Albany and the city, almost smack dead. And yeah, so I got hired in 2019. There was no computer science at Goshen before that. When I got hired, we were offering an AP computer science principles course and an introductory course. I don't really remember what the introductory course was. What I do know is that it was offered through Adhesive. I don't know. I feel like this story should be, I know you guys want me to share, but I feel like it should be shared by Jim. He tells it way better than I do. Jim, I can hear you, I see you talking, but I think you're muted.
Yep, you're muted, Jim.
Keep going, Dylan. You're doing great.
All right. So, yeah. So we were offering those two courses. I think I had 2 sections of the introductory course and one of the AP, CSP. And so I came in. We had a phone chat with Jim and I think Robin. I think that's who it was. Me and my assistant principal. And I remember they were like, we're going to go up. I'm going to go up for the training, and we're going to add this later on, all the other courses that Siena was kind of offering. They really were putting a lot of money into our computer science program, so we were going to just add a bunch of classes. And I remember by Friday of the training, I was talking to Jim, and Jim was like, "So what do you think of it?" And I was like, I love it. I like the support. I like the content. I like the people. And I was like, I'm just going to teach it. And Jim was like, well, is your school going to be okay with that? And I was like, what are they going to do? Fire me?
And for those of you who are listening to Dylan, I will jump in here, Dylan. Dylan had not taught a day for the Goshen School District yet. He was going into his first year of teaching, not tenured. And he just said, well, they sent me for this other training, but I'm going to ignore it. And I'm going to jump in with the teachers in the Siena group.
Yeah, you got to do it.
It was pretty nervy, Dylan.
I think it's best for the kids, though. It definitely worked out, and it led to, what we're doing now, which we'll get to in a second here. I think I'm ready for the next.
So, and Dylan, so you are tenured now, I'm thinking.
I am. I just got tenured.
See, it worked.
Yeah, it did.
Do you want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah, sorry, Robin. I thought, yeah. So just our context. What are we? So we are, we're not a small school, but we're not a big school by any means. There's about like 1,000 kids, just under 1,000 kids, I think, in our high school. It's about even split right down the middle between male and females, which is nice to see in terms of the school makeup, but it's kind of disheartening because we're not achieving that in any of our tech classes. And I know that's always been a big emphasis of the Siena program and things that we've been trying to do. Diversity-wise, we're 15% Hispanic and Latino, 5% Black, 4% Asian, and then 75% white. You can go to the next one too. All right, so where are we now? So like I said, we have 3 sections of computer science, 2 the introductory or discovering, and then 1 AP computer science principles. We're up to 4 sections. So we have 2 sections of discovering, 1 section of Python and multimedia, and then 1 section of Java and data structures. Really, this should be more. We should actually, I think they cut 1 whole section of discovering this year, which is kind of sad, but I am over. So we normally teach 5 classes. I'm at 7. The other technology teacher is at 6.5, and he is technically the department head, so he's really over. But for some reason, the district doesn't want to hire. But that's another issue. Within that, we were actually just awarded the 2023 Program of Excellence Award by NICEA, which was kind of cool to see. Yeah, wow. And we were awarded the same award by ITEA, which was also really cool. And that's just a few pictures of our lab. All right, we'll get to some numbers here in a second, I promise. We'll go to the next one, Robin. All right, so enrollment. So I know this is kind of, I think you guys are going to get this presentation. Will everybody get it that's viewing?
I think so. I haven't shared the link yet, but I think they do get those.
Okay, I don't know if it's hard to see for anybody, but right, so all those are our total enrollment for the CS courses over the years. So 1920, my first year, I think it was right around like 46 or something like that. 2020 and 2021, that was pretty high. I think it was like 76. And then we had a little bit of a fall up. I think that had to do with COVID and kids just not really. It was kind of a remote thing. It really wasn't and guidance and things like that. But then this year we're back up. I think it's like just over 80 kids total with 4 classes. And then we have an additional cybersecurity class that's not Siena related, but it's really cool to see. And it's all the classes I've had are the biggest classes I've had in each one so far. So we're kind of on the climb again with that. I think I got 1 more, right? 2 more slides, something like that. Oh God, I lost you guys. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. So one of the things that I've noticed that helped, my first year teaching, we actually had a student come in and they were in the class, and it was at that point, or it was actually the second year. It was that point where it was like kids could choose to be fully remote or kind of in person halftime. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. But it was a girl. She came to me and she was like, "Are there going to be any other girls coming in person? Because that's going to be the reason I stay home, or if that's the reason I come to school every day." And I was just like, whoa, I didn't even think about that and how that affects any of the female students. But I kind of just got talking to them, and I'm the girls basketball coach. So I just started talking to the girls and like, what could kind of help? And we came up with this Women in STEAM Day, or in STEM Day. And we just highlighted any of the females, local females that work in the technology industry, computer science, cybersecurity, even manufacturing, packaging, all sorts of things like that. We had 600 attendees throughout the event. That was the first one, which was awesome to see. A lot of students. We had builds, we had just companies, people were giving stuff away. And that is, so the 21-22, I don't know if you guys noticed, we had our uptake again after that. And then last year we had another one. This one was more focused on manufacturing the trades. Each year we're going to do like a different thing, and we're going to do it again this year. And that was at a neighboring school, at Valley Central High School. But that also definitely has helped our efforts in not only ours, but we're seeing in Valley Central, their numbers are going up. And they're actually adding computer science courses too, which is awesome to see. But that's just one way to do it. Another way that we've, how do you encourage students is really, you got to have a good relationship with the guidance counselors. They've got to know what you're teaching. They got to know that it's for everybody. I've actually heard from students, guidance counselors saying, girls don't take those courses, which is pretty crazy to me at, this time, this stage in all of our lives, that people are still saying that. And especially when you come from a school when all of our guidance counselors are female. So you would think that would be a little bit more of an empowering message that's coming from them. But so obviously we still have work to do, not just in this area, probably in a lot of areas in all of our lives, but, baby steps. Ready for the next one, I think. Yeah. So this is it. So where are we going? I know that Siena has the web design course. I would love to teach it. Obviously, I'm kind of at the max. I'm kind of, I don't know. We got to get another person to get something so that I could do that. We actually are supposed to be offering a drone course also this year with, within the Python coding and building, but we couldn't because we're over. So it's being run as a club. So obviously, yeah, we want to hire another teacher. We want to just keep growing this. And if you're not doing it, I know this is like a little plug and play, but definitely consider Siena. I'm telling you, just from the support, even if you choose not to do something with them, they're going to be the most supportive people around. But yeah, I think I crushed the 8-minute mark.
Thanks. You're good. And before Robin introduces the group from Middletown, it looks like we've had some more people hopping in to our hop-in session. So if you haven't had a chance, just put your name and affiliation in the chat so we make sure that we get that down. I also, in the chat, if you scroll up a little bit, you should see a link to our Siena CS for All website. And I put my email address in there, but you could find Robin and Pauline and I on our Siena College. Just go to the Siena College website, go to computer science faculty, and you'll find us there with our emails also. But you did great, Dylan. We're actually on schedule. And before Robin introduces them, just a side note to our colleague Norval, that we are right on schedule, Norval, and I will give you a 2-minute warning so that we have time for questions at the end. So go ahead, Robin.
I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jess Guthrie. I am a computer science and math teacher in Middletown High School. And this is my 8th year of teaching in the district. And it's my 5th year teaching computer science.
And I'm Norval Connell, and I'm Jess's partner in designing what we consider a spectacular program. This is my 8th year in Middletown as an administrator. It's actually my I think it's like my 20th year in education. So it's been a while. But we're excited to share what we've done over the past few years. And I think everybody here is actually a part of what we've done, right? And I'm looking at the faces, I'm looking at Robin and Jim, right? And I'm thinking, Jess and I, the relationship and the partnership we've created has done something really special for Middletown community. So I'll talk a little bit. What's the Middletown story, right? And where do we exist? And so you can understand exactly who we are. We're actually neighbors with Goshen, but it's a completely different school district. The truth is, we're kind of an anomaly because we're a rural school, an urban school in a rural setting, and we are a poor school with a very diverse background. So what do I mean that we're a poor school? Well, we have over 2,550 students in the high school alone, and I mean, if you don't think that's a large number, you should just see the hallways during lunchtime, right? It's packed. Right, we have 62% Hispanic, and just to say that we have 23 different languages represented in Middletown alone. 22% Black. So these two groups together make up 84% of our school population. 10% white, 2% Asian, 4% are other races. But one of the things that we have found is that many years ago, like 2 superintendents ago, the superintendent made a decision. So we may be a poor district, but we're going to make every effort to erase the look and feel of poverty. So our students walk into the school knowing that every resource is available to them. And because of that, they will not feel like poor students while they're in this building. And that was a deliberate effort. And that's one of the reasons why computer science became part of this, because as we examined where we were and what our scholars were doing after they graduated, we realized that we needed them to have more STEM skills. And there was no STEM skill better than computer science, or there's nothing more marketable than computer science. So that's just the start of our story. Now I'll pass it over to Jess.
So I wanted to highlight a program that we started last year at the high school, but we also, each elementary school and also both middle schools run the program as well. Girls Who Code, I'm sure everyone, or hopefully everyone is familiar with this national organization. So something that, you know, and I know all teachers have kind of spoken to this at this point, but female enrollment has always been a struggle in my classroom, a challenge to get more females involved. And I'm sure, you know, that's everywhere. And so this program we started last year, and just hopefully, and, you know, with the goal of increasing female awareness and participation in computer science. So I'm going to also talk about Norval, what Norval and I have done, you know, beyond Girls Who Code, but this program was a very positive experience for the girls after school once a week. And you see there, that's pretty much all of our girls that did the program last year in the t-shirts. And then we had a couple after school presentations for the younger students. And then this year at the beginning of the year, we brought some girls in to do some more presentations, but just honestly, like getting the word out, having our girls present, show other girls and, you know, their parents and the community, what we're doing in the classroom and also after school has really been impactful. And also another thing Norval and I have done a lot is going into different classrooms during the day and presenting about our program. So we're going to go over numbers in a minute, but I really think that this program, accompanied with all of the outreach and all of the, you know, marketing that we've done, has really helped grow the program over the past couple of years.
So I started talking a little bit about the background and so the motivation. So I can talk about my personal motivation. See, I used to tutor a young lady from Middletown, even before I started working here. And I tutored her mathematics. And this young lady went off to a very expensive school and got a really expensive bachelor's degree. And she paid so much money for it. But when she came back and she couldn't get a job that could ever meet the cost of her student loan. And this young lady got sick because she just couldn't keep up with it. And if we look at it and analyze it, we realize that she never got any of the future ready skills for the market out there. And there is no more future ready skill than computer science. So the moment I got started working here, we've tried so hard to get the superintendent to buy into letting us start a computer science program. Now, we struggled to do that because we could not find the right partner. But my thorough research led me to a gentleman called Jim Matthews, who later introduced me to Robin. But Jim spent hours with me on the phone. It was almost like finding a long lost brother. But we just sat together on the phone for a while and we dreamt about what a program could look like, and a partnership between Siena and Middletown. What would that look like? One of the things that we did agree on was that even with all the resources and all the things that Siena brings, if I did not find the right teacher for the program, we will not be successful, right? It's almost like the first follower philosophy, right? The idea is that if you're going to start a great movement, the most important person is the first follower. So Jim and I sat talking about who could that first follower be. Well, it just happened that there was a graduate from Siena, a superstar in one of our middle schools named Jessica Guthrie, and they allowed me to actually go and speak and talk with her for a little bit. Up until a few weeks ago, I thought I was the one that convinced her, but apparently it was Jim. But the moment she came on, she was a phenomenal math teacher. She was able to really tie the curriculum really nicely together. She had great connections with the students. She immediately became one of the most popular teachers in the high school campus. The students loved her. They spent time with her out of classroom, right? They advocate to be part of her class. You're right. And so I thought having the right teacher was probably the most important move that we made. But the strong partnership with Siena was what really supported that. The training that they get. Now, also, the fact that she's getting so much support means that other teachers are seeing the support. And it's almost like she started a movement, because I cannot tell you how many teachers have come to me to ask, why wasn't I chosen for this? Why didn't you think of me? Because it's so cool, right? And the idea is that now I see so many of the teachers want to sign on to become computer science teachers. So that is really an important piece. So now I have the partner, and I have my first follower, my superstar teacher. Now we need to get the students there. So I spent a summer cold calling parents from this very office, having conversations, using every charm that I can muscle to talk to them. And I'm telling them stories. I became part of their lives. Parents came to visit me. That first class, I had parents coming to visit me just to check on me to make sure I'm okay. But the idea is that the way to build the program was I had to give them a personal touch, to explain what Siena means, explain this new teacher they're going to have, and to explain what it means for their children's future. So we got our first class started, and I think everything just launched from there, right? So the idea is that the first class started, and then we started to make sure the board sees it. We make the parents that they see it. So every opportunity we get, we showcase. We have an after-school event. We have our computer kids showing some codes, right? Jess is there, and she's willing to do that. We have STEM night. We have experiencer program. I mean, we've grown experiencer program. We have 2,500 people coming into our building. And Jim and Robin, you should definitely come next year when we have it. 2,500 families walking into our building, looking at our coding or robots or engineering, all these different things. So there's a real great opportunities that we've made use of. So the idea is that no, not only is this project owned by Middletown administrators and Siena, but it's also owned by the teacher, and now all other stakeholders have a stake in it, parents and students. And I think that was a great buy-in. Right, Jess?
Yeah, I agree. And I just wanted to mention, I know I talked about marketing the program, and you mentioned choosing me, but I also want to say that it's as much the administration in the building as it is, the teachers teaching. So, Norval, the other instructional leaders in the building, and, even higher up in central office, I think just having that support from administration, this program wouldn't be anything, without any of them. Like, I can reach out to Norval at any time with any issues. And I know that he was fully in support of everything. So it's just great, the relationship that we've been able to build over the past 5 years with you know, within the building and then also with Siena as well. And I just wanted to point out some of my students. You know, these are great students. I still have some of them. There's graduation pictures there. So we've been graduating. We've graduated 2 classes so far through the program. So we're on our 3rd class, which is just wonderful. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for all of them.
And Jess, you should mention that we have like a specific graduation too, just for the academy students.
Yeah, so the NAF Academy, I didn't know if you wanted me to mention that, but the NAF Academy, so each of my computer science students earns a stole at the end of the year if they've at least completed 2, or at the end of high school when they graduate, if they've completed 2 out of the 4 courses for Siena, or through the Siena program for computer science. And it just, so many of my students last year was like, where's my green stole? I need my green stole. So it's just another way of, you know, showing, you know, pride in the program. And I, you know, got through and got this many college credits, and it's great. It's a great way, again, to show, you know, for students to show off what they've done throughout high school.
Yes, and we chose green to honor our Siena
yes.
partnership.
And I think we're doing numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is where this is the program we built, right? Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, so we started same year as Dylan in Goshen. We started it in the 2019-2020 year with one course, but I had 2 sections. And this was the Discovering CS course. So we were good for that until COVID hit. And then in the 2020-2021 school year, we kept going with, we had the Discovering Computer Science, and we opened up for the students who moved up that year. We opened up one section of the Computer Science Principles class. We call it Computer Science Principles. Sorry, it's the Python course through Siena. So at that point, I had 3 sections of computer science. And then the next year, 21 to 22, we were offering I don't know how many sections at this point, because at this point we also added another computer science teacher. It was that many sections. So we had the Discovering CS course running, we had the Python course running, and I know I had 1 section of software, because I've only ever had 1 section of software, but that class grows every year as well. So we had the 3 courses running, and then last year, I'm going to pass it to Norval because he's going to go over how we went from 3 courses to 7 courses.
So this started with a conversation that so Siena College brought all these high schools together, and we had a little forum, a virtual forum, and we started talking about the students who are ready for the computer science essentials. Only to find out that there are students who are taking algebra can take it alongside with computer science essentials. So that gave us the real great idea. Why not offer it to our students in the middle school who are taking algebra? So then so we went down and met with the principals in the middle school and in the 2 middle schools, and they created a course. So we added 2 new courses in either middle school for computer science essentials, and that's a discovering course for just the students who are taking algebra. Well, the news got out really quickly. Parents were getting excited, and the principals reached back out and said, they got back to us and said, we need more computer science courses. We need a 6th grade, we need a 7th grade course, right? They're telling me all the things that they need. So then what we did is that we went out and looked for, we knew that it should not be at the rigor of the discovery course, but we can create coding classes, right? We can create coding classes. So we went out and got a vendor called Tinker. And then we designed coding classes for 6th grade, for 7th grade. And what we found is that we got students a lot more prepared when they got to the 8th grade. And now we have a lot more students showing interest in even the high school programming because of those programs that they're starting so early. So we could look at this, the number of students. So that 2019, 2020, we started off with 29 students. And that was a labor of love, right? That was cold calling, chatting with parents, just spending time talking about Siena and Middletown and dream with them what your children can become, right? And that's the first year with 29. Well, the next year, we saw that the number went up significantly. Not only went up significantly, but Jess and I started visiting classrooms. We started doing a road show. So we visit a classroom. We have a little slide that we show it, right? Sometimes she can't go. Pardon me?
All right, sending letters home. We did a lot of
sending letters home. Absolutely. Yep. And believe me, we had a lot of fun doing this. There's no point. I just want to let you know. At no point this felt like work. This is the exciting stuff. We got lots of laughter, kids asking questions. They're doing all these different things, right? I get a time to spend time with the guidance counselors. So I'm visiting different schools and talking to the guidance counselors, or 2 middle schools and the guidance counselors here in our district, the high school, kind of teaching them exactly what needs to be done. What are the prerequisites? What type of students are you looking for? These are the advice you give students just so they can be on the same page with us, because they're the ones registering our students into these classes. So then the next year, right, now we're offering more classes. We're excited now, right? We realize that we've created something special. We're getting a lot of support from Siena. We now hire a second teacher, because if you see that number, Jess can no longer handle this. So the district allows me to say, well, you can go ahead and get another teacher. So now we hired another teacher. The teacher went up, the teacher got trained by Siena. So we said, we have something has started. Well, the next year, everything just got blown away. This is it. We now have a computer science program from 6 to 12. And it became as if this is not just an amazing feeling. Not only is the high school programs advertising itself, right? The students are asking about it. They're excited about it. They want to come. And we designed a computer coding competition to mirror the Siena coding competition. We created our own. And students get to submit their codes. And we have, like, in the first week of December, they come up to the high school and present, and we have awards and stuff like that, right? That just really builds excitement around the program. Am I missing anything, Jess? Okay, so yes. So then this is what happened. So then this year happens, and we looked at the number and was like, wow. I mean, 810 students is still a really good number, but it's a decline from where we were the year before. And then one would wonder what happened. And I tell you, well, we had change of guidance counselors. We got change of guidance counselors. And somehow we've spent our time working with all other stakeholders, students and parents, all different showcase, and we did not go back to the guidance counselors and retrain them. So what happened is that students who even come and say, I want computer science, but my guidance counselors did not allow me to do it. They didn't advertise it. They didn't give me that option. So the idea is that I'm just a warning to everybody, right? Never take for granted that the guidance counselors will always be consistent, right? There are a lot of courses, a lot of offerings. It's really important for us as the people building the programs to make sure that we're training them, that we're giving them the information, keep updating them and reminding them of their duty to make sure that all families, all our students are aware of the offerings that we have in computer science, especially because prerequisites are important. So if you really want to do computer science, you want to make sure that you're doing well in your math classes. And that's a message that needs to be done, that needs to be echoed to all our students and their families. So I think that was really important thing that we learned. Hopefully next year, if we get to present again, this number 810 will only be a blip in our in our memory, and we'll actually have the numbers going back up. If it's up to Jess, it's gonna be packed anyway.
Thank you. And I didn't even have to do the 2-minute warning. I did let you go 2 minutes over though, Norval.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's okay. It was hard. I always enjoy listening. So we want to open this up to questions and answers. So I think probably the best way to do this is through the chat, maybe. People can submit questions through the chat for any of our panelists. And to give you a chance to do that, I'll say the New York State Learning Standards for Computer Science and Digital Fluency, this year's 8th graders, according to the state timeline, this year's 8th graders should be meeting the high school standards by the time they graduate. They're the first class. And if you're going to do that with a full year course, which is what many of us think is necessary to meet those standards, it means that for approximately every 100 students you have per grade level, you need five sections of your course that's going to meet the standards. So like for Middletown with their 2,500 high school students, they must have 600 to 700 students per grade. For 600 to 700 students, they're going to need about 30 sections. And so they still, even with their great number of 900, they're getting a lot accomplished in the middle school. They still need to continue to grow. A small school like Chatham, which right now has probably got about 60 or 70 students per grade, they may be able to accomplish this with 3 like discovering computer science sections. And then Dylan at Goshen, I think, Dylan, your high school, was it 1,000 students in the high school?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I was responding.
Yeah, I know. I've been doing that too. So with 1,000, that means that you have about 250 students per grade. So you're going to need about, a dozen sections just of the basic course to meet the standards, let alone the courses that you've heard them talk about for, AP or university and the high school credit. Our Siena courses are similar to high school. To our university and the high school courses correspond with the AP principles and the APA course. So having said that, let's see what Karen has submitted a question. Any thought of developing a New York State Ed approved CTE 4+1 pathway for graduation in CS? Can any of you jump in on that? Don't forget to unmute.
So I would just like to add that one of the things that New York State allows us to do, and this is not for the regents, not for regents, but for credit accumulation. It allows us, if you're a certified math teacher, you can actually offer math credits for your computer science classes. So you will see you need 3 math credits to graduate. But you will see a typical computer science student will graduate with 5, 6, or even 7 math credits. That is one thing that I know that they allow you to do right now. But the truth is, there is actually a great opportunity, and I think there's talks about it as they're creating more CTE pathways, because computer science would actually be a very great 4+1. Yes, and Paul, I agree with Pauline. We offer it as a math credit as well, and that's why we recruit math teachers. I think all of our teachers are actually math certified teachers.
Lenka has jumped in. Have you worked with platforms such as Microsoft Teams or IBM Skills Build to enhance the skills of your teachers?
We have not. The majority of our support comes through Siena College, and I think that's a benefit that we have. Having Siena as a partner gives a real great opportunity for the professional development. That's invaluable. And I mean, Jess and Elizabeth and Dylan can talk more about it than I can, right? But I know that when I send a teacher to Siena, they come back completely amazed and in love with computer science. I don't know. I'm gonna lose John Fallonsby to from engineering, because he came up and all he can talk about now is computer science.
To piggyback off of that, the Siena Computer Science Department does an amazing job at preparing teachers to teach these courses, whether it's a week-long professional development in the summer, practicing with the curriculum, learning how to set up your labs, your assignments, or it's a once or twice monthly event to practice with the curriculum as you go on through the course of the year. So I think that the community, the PLC that's created with teaching one of these courses is something that I could never be more grateful for. I will remember in my first year of teaching, I quite literally said, what the heck do I teach in this course? Here's the title. There was no syllabus, nothing when I came. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to teach this curriculum. And I've never looked back a day since. I'm so happy that I did. But I think that, you know, the Siena curriculum and the Siena community that comes with it is something that I can't rave higher about than I already do.
Yeah, I think I do. When I make a lot of decisions in my life, I just base it on people, and you're not going to get better people. I know this sounds like we're just trying to sell this, but it's so like, even if the Siena people weren't here and I ran into you on the street and you were like, for some reason, hey, do you know anything about computer science? I would sell this, you know, from anywhere. I think
I'd do the same.
As for the given the New York State changing graduation requirements, CS classes, students succeed. I mean, obviously you start with discovering. I'm just going to say DCS, discovering computer science. The thing about that class that I like is that, one, you can do it without a lot of equipment. You can do it with a Chromebook. You could do it without a lot of knowledge. You could, you know, kind of just come out. Obviously, you could do the training, but really you can stay ahead of your students. But I think the way that it's organized, it helps students build their confidence, because, I mean, yeah, computer science can be hard, but the way it's laid out is that it's very achievable in all the steps, and right, they kind of go from having everything outlined in all the instructions to, you know, the second lab, they really have to start thinking about some of the instructions. It's kind of open-ended, and then the third, and as they kind of increase, there's less and less instruction. But they don't realize it. I mean, you have your students here and there, and they're like, "This doesn't really make sense," and you can see, but that's just because they don't have the grasp yet. But once they get that, I think their confidence goes, and then it's adios from there.
I think a lot of, for my students, I see them, like Dylan just said, starting off very low confidence, not just in their programming or computer science skills, but just their computer skills, using their Chromebook, opening up a web browser, you know, sending an email. You know, while we don't have a unit on sending emails, believe me, I should have one. But we talk about how to communicate and how to ask questions. And, you know, the whole course is designed for anyone, really. It's an introductory computer science class, and while there is a little bit of algebra, a little bit of geometry mixed in with it, we learn it as we go. So you don't have to be a A+ geometry student to succeed in that introductory course. But I think for me, when I think about thinking about helping all students succeed in the classroom, it's just giving them, like Dylan said, giving them those confidence skills to just, you know, roll with it. I love watching my students know nothing on the first day of school. Then come November, December, when we're doing the first unit project, I think I had a student, I don't think the rubric worked for him. I had to create a whole new rubric because he went so far above and beyond what the project asked for. So it's really exciting to see them take off with it.
And I just wanted to chime in on that too. I really think that having students work together, we do a lot of pair programming model. I really think that helps them succeed, because they're not just, you know, either working on the computer app by themselves, waiting for me to come over and help them, but they're actually like working together. They're learning from each other. And I will tell you, the community in my classroom with the kids who I started essentials with, we call them different, discovering with, versus the kids who are now taking the upper level software development and web design classes. It is just such a huge difference to see them. Even my COVID kids who are like by themselves at home, and now they're in the classroom together. And it's great to see them just working together and helping each other out, and not just always relying on me, but going to each other for answers and for help, and just building that, you know, trust in each other to reach out. And I think that's what also helps them all succeed, is that they know they have a community of these students who they've been in the program with, and, you know, they've grown with together. So just wanted to mention that as well.
And just a quick thing, just to boost that is, if you're worried, like anybody here is worried about, can I do this? I mean, I think everybody here is probably involved in the CS world, but not to mention anybody's names, but, when we came in, we had an English teacher come in, and he was the least confident person in his ability to be able to teach this. And I remember going through the training, going through the courses, and we still, we would email when he needed help and stuff. And he did it. I mean, he did it for, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he did it for a few years, right?
Yep, he's still doing it. He added the college level course.
There we go. Look at that. And he was, but he was in English, so not related, an English teacher, not related at all. Like, I'm at least in the tech world, and then we have math. But I remember he felt so out of place. And just like the students, he just kind of got that confidence, got that boost. And yep, he's still doing it. So.
Thanks for mentioning that, Dylan. Just for our participants, Dylan, Elizabeth, and Jess had a pretty strong experiences in computer science in their bachelor's programs. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that. We're working with about 40 teachers, and some of them are there's only a couple English language arts folks, but there are other teachers who really had almost no CS background coming in, but they were interested and enthusiastic, and most of them experienced teachers. And it's remarkable the high percentage. Like, our success rate is like 97%. We've only had one teacher that in about 40 that really found it that they just couldn't teach the courses. It's amazing. Thanks for all the nice things you said about us. And Tom O'Connell in the opening session gave us a nice shout out saying, Siena's been doing this for over 40 years. We've been working with high schools in various ways for over 40 years. We're very committed to improving computer science education at the pre-college level, and especially focusing on high schools. And we have a CS department of like 15 full-time people, and there's 4 of us who really work on this. So we're fortunate that our department is large enough to allow us, 4 of us, to actually focus so much of our time and scholarly efforts on this work. I want to, Katie Schiller, who we actually also work with at SUNY Albany, had a question, and some of this goes to, I can't resist a little bit of history. We started out really starting with our Intro to Computer Science course for computer science majors at Siena, and getting high schools to offer it for dual enrollment or university in the high school credit. It's a course that's similar in spirit to the Advanced Placement Principles course. And it didn't take us long before we realized, why should a student's first course be at a college level? And that's when we had Pauline White, who you can see in the chat. She's a very experienced high school teacher, and I don't have time to impress you with her resume, but it's amazing. But she's the one who put together and really supports the Discovering course. And I think that's the one where I think Katie's question applies. She was asking about, okay, as we go to meet these standards, we want every student in the high school to meet the CS standards. And one of the ways that schools might do that is put them in a Discovering Computer Science course. And how does that go when the students are basically every range of academic ability that a high school has? Can you guys jump in on that? And actually, we only have 2 minutes, so you got to go fast. How's it teaching a wide range of students in Discovery?
Oh, it keeps you on your toes, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I have in Discovering, told you I have a Chinese student, a freshman Chinese student, and I have a senior who really just, quote, wanted an easy elective, which I told him, you're in for a treat. It's not. No, I'm kidding. But you have a wide range there of kids who, interest-wise and ability-wise. And for me, I kind of use a tutor system where I have my students who finish earlier. I make them become the teacher. I make them go around and help people. So I think there's a lot of ways you can play with the ability level in the classroom there.
I think for me, my favorite part of it is the interest level difference. The ability, I think you get that in every course. I think everybody has that different abilities, but the unique thing about this course is when they come in with totally different, there's some kids that legitimately don't want to be there. Like, they're like, I don't know, I guess my guidance counselor, but yet they're too lazy to go drop the class or whatever it is. So they stick it out. But you've got to find those ways to keep it relevant and keep them checked in. Otherwise, they're just going to, take other kids with them. And then you have the kids that are so interested in it, and you have to, feed that. So I find that to be kind of just a cool way, because it's relevant for all these students. You just got to figure out how to make that connection for them.
I think we're at our last minute. So, if anybody who's in the session, feel free to email us or contact us via phone or whatever. Like I mentioned before, you can find
Go to the next slide. There's our
contact
email.
info.
Go to the next. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Elizabeth. And obviously, these guys put up their email addresses too, so you could contact them if you have specific questions of them.